So, Dr. Jones, I understand that 5 years ago you visited Kirksville to study the phantom phenomenon?
Yes.
Well, we were just curious as to what you found there. Did you find anything to support the existence of phantoms? Did you actually see one yourself?
It was my understanding that you were here to talk about something else.
Well...
Why are we talking about this?
We just wanted to get a bit of your expertise as a professor of American folklore.
Yeah, no.
Well, is there anything we can say to convince you to talk a little more about the subject?
No, this is... Look, in my line of work, we're supposed to be dealing with what is objective, what is true. I'm not going to talk about something that's not.
So
okay?
You don't believe in phantoms, then?
I didn't say that.
I know it sounds crazy, but I've known about the phantoms ever since I was a kid.
So I was walking through the sunken garden. And I look up and there's this person staring at me. So I start walking towards it, but he turns away. And then I come around this corner and he's gone.
The phantoms of Kirksville are unique in a sense to how the rest of the world perceives phantoms. While most people believe that they would be nocturnal presences, for people who even believe that phantoms exist, in Kirksville it is an accepted belief, no, an accepted fact that they exist, and we don't just come across them at night. Phantoms can be seen in broad daylight at noon in summer in the supermarket. Maybe you see them in your bedroom when you come home. And you only ever see them for a second, maybe two, maybe as long as half a minute, but never longer. And they look perfectly human, perfectly normal, but it's the way they act that just makes something about them seem wrong, otherworldly even. That's how we know they're phantoms.
I keep seeing the same one around in different places in town all the time, and I know that sounds stupid because maybe I'm just seeing the same person over and over again, but there's just something about the way that they look. You just feel that they're not human.
Now, the first theory for explaining the presence of phantoms is that they are leftover energies or auras of the people who lived here when Kirksville was first founded in 1841.
Every day I used to come this way for class. For 2 years I'd see the same guy sitting on his couch, same clothes every day, reading the same book.
But that theory doesn't work because these phantoms, they do not appear in dress that would suggest that they are from that period.
So a couple years later, I'm in a bookstore and I see the same guy. I was always kind of curious, why he disappeared after those 2 years. I was never able to find anything about him. And I felt like I had to say something, so I followed him. He turned, looked at me, and then walked away.
They do not act in a way that suggests they're from that period. They appear like everyday people. They look normal, they're dressed in normal clothes. They can't be from that time period.
wasn't until I was driving home after I made my purchases that I realized how uncomfortable I was feeling. The hair was still standing on the back of my neck, and I started to think back. And honestly, it didn't look like he'd aged a day.
I mean, they look like us, but they're not the same as we are.
Now, the second theory to explain the phantoms is that they're the result of some sort of a hallucination. But this theory is even more far-fetched than the one supposing they're from a previous time period, because to assume that they are hallucinations is to assume two things. One, that everyone in Kirksville is suffering a condition that causes the same type of hallucinations.
So it's Saturday night, and I just got home from work, and just like any other Saturday night, I came in and I went to the bathroom and I was brushing my teeth, and I was faced over the sink, and I was brushing my teeth, and as soon as I came back up, I saw something behind me in the mirror, and I don't know exactly what it was. It looked like a person, but as soon as I whipped around because I was so surprised, it vanished and it was gone.
And two, that these people are hallucinating the same topic, sometimes with the exact same appearance. If you're in a group and you see a phantom, everyone will see it as the same appearance. There's no explanation as to why a group would all hallucinate the exact same thing in the exact same situation. In Kirksville, we see these phantoms regularly. It's nothing new, but it's quite possible, in fact, I would say it's a certainty that phantoms exist everywhere.
Phantoms don't exist. That's not a real thing. They're just a useless superstition used to scare children and make sure they behave.
They're just reported differently or ignored altogether.
Phantoms? I don't know. I don't really believe in that kind of stuff.
But here in Kirksville, it's their continued presence and the fact that knowledge of them has been passed from generation to generation that centers Kirksville as sort of this hub of phantom activity. While the rest of the world experiences it, none of it experiences it on our level.
So, there's nothing we can say to convince you to tell us about your trip to Kirksville and what you saw there? Because it seems you saw something.